What's up, Bandinos? It's me, Jon Gabrus, the guest on today's episode of Bothering the Band. I am neither in a band or really bothered by the questions from this episode. As a matter of fact, I talk, spoiler alert, I'm recording this intro after we recorded, and I know I talk a lot. I mean, I wouldn't even have to wait till after the episode to guess that I would talk a lot because that's kind of my thing. All right. I'm already talking too much in the intro, so enough of me talking in the intro. Why don't you hear me talking in the episode? Without further ado, Jon Gabrus in Bothering the Band.
Jon Gabrus, we have a lot of connections. We're going to just go right for it.
Yeah, the email you sent me to ask me to be on the podcast was cryptic AF, so I'm very excited to determine all of our long-lost connections.
Well, first of all, Pally's been on. You're best buds with Pally. You have a new pod with him.
Connection one.
It's going to get deeper and deeper here. I saw you at UCB in like 2009. That's connection two.
Shit, okay.
I even forget the show. I could probably think about it. I was drunk, but
yeah.
Anyways, great. Saw you come up.
So was I, to be fair, probably.
Who wasn't drunk in 2009?
Yeah,
it was the time.
So I saw you come up as well, and then shortly after that, we were at a wedding together. We sat at the same table.
Okay, now
Allie and Greg.
Bad. Wait, who?
Allie and Greg. They are no longer together.
Oh my goodness! Yes. Holy shit, that is crazy small world. Yes.
Isn't that wild? And then also, same table. I think you and I were like next to each other, like
that's quite
shooting
possible.
Shit and drinking.
Yeah.
And then the last connection is you played rugby with our friend Brian Van Remen, who's from Buffalo, New York.
Holy shit, AKA to us, we know him as Aardvark.
Oh yes, you do.
That's his rugby nickname, and he's a poet.
He is a poet.
He's
like
a published poet. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a new book coming out. We'll promote him right now.
Oh, geez, man. It's
called Crisis in Confidence is what it's called. Shout out to Aardvark.
Oh, man.
Abby knows Brian.
Oh, this is so okay. Those are connections from like every facet of my life, comedy,
right?
Rugby, college, and then having Pally on the podcast. Again, probably the loosest of connections is having my TV star and movie star friend on a podcast. That's the least one. The fact that we sat together at a wedding table stays fucking winning, Ryan. They're
good connections, not like I saw you on that bus that one time. You have no idea who I am.
Yeah, we sat together. Well, now I feel bad almost in a way. I don't really even remember any elements of the wedding. Like I don't even remember like where it was or like anything like that. I just know those people. That's so fucking oh man.
I remember the wedding was like there was a giant gap in between the wedding, the ceremony, and the rehearsal. So it was like,
was it in New York?
It was in Long Island. It was in
I
don't fucking know.
No, me neither. Oh man, that's so funny.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
So I mean, personally, I said this to who else? Kate McCucci, where it's like you see someone whenever you pop up, I'm just like constantly rooting for you. It's like,
oh, thank you. That makes
the
two of us, and maybe that's it. But I do appreciate. Oh, and Abby's pointing at herself. We've got 3. We've got quorum. I'm gonna make it finally. Year 21 of being in the business. It's gonna happen for me.
Oh man. I think it's already. You're crushing it, man. You're the podcast king.
Yes, king of a tiny kingdom. Happy to be here. Don't get me wrong. I'd prefer this to digging ditches or waking up early. I'm trying to pretend like I had options for other real jobs, and I can't even like place a hypothetical one for the sake of the conversation.
Digging ditches and getting up early. That's all.
Yeah, those are the two worst things you can be, I think.
I mean, and you have to get up early to dig ditches so you can avoid that midday heat.
Yeah, also, digging ditches is an early job. Yeah. Oh, no. You can't even dig ditches in Florida. You get to swamp in like a foot and a half. Yeah.
I think there's something stoic about being a ditch digger. Is that you don't think about it. I mean, like,
what about being a ditcher?
Ditcher. I mean,
is that where you just like fuck a guy and run out of there? It's
Yep.
It's like it's a new term for ghosting, being a dick ditcher.
Oh, I'm sharing that with the world.
When you first get a glimpse of the dick and it's like weird. You're like,
And you ditch, yeah.
I gotta dip out.
How many times have you guys run away from that scenario?
Every time.
Every
They're
time.
weird. They're gross.
Dicks are weird. I barely like mine.
We've just been together so long.
Yeah, I'm just so adjusted to it. It hasn't changed the way it looks in 43 years.
It's actually
It's the dick I was born with somehow, and it didn't grow with the rest of my fucking insane frame.
And balls are just getting longer and grosser. So it's like,
oh yeah, we don't even have to get it. We don't even have to get into what the hell's happening down there with that. Luckily I can't even see it without a series of mirrors, so I feel safe. Like I, every once in a while I just catch a glimpse of my genitals, and I'm like, I can't believe I make other people see these. Like that's their other people. Who am I talking about? All the people who come to my fucking dance review at Thunder Down Under when I'm whipping my hog around.
Man, I love having comedians
I would
on
buy
this pod.
front row seats.
Yeah. I saw Thunder Down Under. It was pretty wild. I have not seen Magic Mike yet, but I have seen Thunder from Down Under. And I went with a couple of buddies of mine who were gay men and my wife. And it was pretty crazy how heteronormative it was. The guys just kept screaming like, ladies, and it's so obvious that there's a lot of men in the crowd, either friends of ladies or I'm assuming gay guys who are just like, this is funny and kitschy. But they were I'm like, guys, you're doing a male review where you pretend to be Australian and you dance around in jeans. I think it's okay to cater to gay men a little, but they're clearly just a touch like not secure for that. So a lot of it's like, ladies, looks like we're getting people wet in here. And I'm like, there's like visibly 40 guys by me and no one. I'm like, you think they throw a fucking bone to these guys, pun intended. You think they throw a bone to one of these guys at this point?
There has to be one who's like, fellas. Yeah. All right, we have some really, really dumb questions for you.
Oh, I love answering questions. That's like a fun thing for me because I don't know what to talk about. So the dumber the question, the more excited I am to try to give an earnest answer. So I'm pumped.
Well, as you'll see, this is not a normal interview whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
And this first one's gonna.
Is this what it stems from? This is what's called how it started being called bothering the band.
Yeah, we only ask our favorite people really stupid questions. We don't care about inspiration, what you're working on, politics, any of that bullshit.
Hell yeah.
And this first question is a perfect example of that. Can either of you, you're going to jump in here, either of you picture Pedro's husband from Real World San Francisco without looking him up?
No.
No, I cannot.
And now, Abby, you want to look him up?
I don't remember which one was San Francisco. I'm still
Pedro
stuck
was
in.
The first one.
Is this? I think it was technically the second one because New York was the first.
New York was the first. San Francisco was the second, but that's the one that popped off. That was Puck and Pedro and Judd and
Pedro was
Iris. What was Judd's girlfriend's name? The Asian woman that he ended up staying with for a long time.
Yeah. See, I knew it. Raised by TV, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Real World is probably for my age. I'm 43. I was born in 82. I feel like my age was the age for Real World fans. Like when you were just old enough to like give a shit about like the idea of interesting people living together, no rules, stop being, start getting real. Yeah. When that's weird. You like followed that along. And then by the time Real World Las Vegas came, that was the split in the industry in the reality TV world where it went from, this is interesting, semi-doc style, like slice of life to this is about getting people drunk, embarrassing themselves, fucking. Like Trishelle had a threesome in the shower in like the first. And I was just like, again, I was a horny boy, horny young man, I should say, based on whatever year that came out. But I was like, this is cool. And then I was like, wait, no, I don't know if I like this as much. And then I think it's sort of steered the entire business into like, let's get rich women drunk and screaming at each other.
You're so right. I mean, that's so articulate how that split. And I know exactly Vegas was the Palms, right? They were in like.
Yes. They had the Palms. They would like go to the night. And then they started like, they used to have like jobs and then eventually it just became like, here, we're just going to instigate situations. We've learned that this is,
And there's a ton of booze in the fridge. You're right. San Francisco was like one of the last where they were like kind of older. They weren't 20. They were like 25, 26, 27.
They were a little self-actualized. They had personalities and they like kind of knew who they were, and that's what made it cool. And to me, that's what that was like me as a kid going like, I can't wait to move to a city and live with like weirdos and like learn, and like have the guy blow a snot rocket while he's on his BMX bike or whatever.
I can't wait to move to Brooklyn and live with like 3, 4, 5 of my buddies. Just keep getting more buddies like on the couch.
I did do the Brooklyn with 2 other buddies that I met in improv class in a loft situation, which I think everybody does in their early 20s, some variation of that. Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking that super dumb question. Abby, did you find
did
him?
you wait, so the question is, do you just remember what this guy looks like?
Yeah, can you picture him? Because
that's him.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was another character because Pedro was going through HIV/AIDS and all that. And it was like huge. And
he was butting heads with Puck, who's a little homophobic and a little acerbic, to say the least. Yeah.
His name was Sean Sasser, and he passed in 2013.
Oh, man.
R.I.P.
Also, Real World Seattle was like
the
best
Seattle
season.
was so good. Though.
Oh, Seattle was my favorite.
The slap.
The slap heard around the world.
What was that guy's name? He slapped Irene was her name. That I remember.
And like threw her teddy bear in the river. Oh, I'll find his
my
name.
God. Yeah.
Stand by.
What was his name? And then is that the one that featured the 2 guys from VMI? Or was that a different season?
There were 2 buddies, and one started dating a producer, and she got canned.
Yeah. You what was it? You're breaking my heart. Like there's like that audio that was released from him. Oh man, I'm remembering that, and now my brain is being triggered to New Orleans with the slam poetry guy with the dreads, the black dude who's like, "Come on, be my baby tonight."
Oh my goodness.
Steven
slapped Irene, right? Because
slapped her because she outed him.
Yeah, because she's like, "You're gay, right?" And then he chased her out to the. And that's what was whack, is that it was like the drive-away slap, like. It made it seem a little more premeditated. Like, I'm going to say, like, if you're going to slap a woman, there's a way to do it. No, like, you're
it's
not
in
like,
the moment.
Yeah. But in the moment, you're a touch more justified of like, shit, he like, that's hard for him to deal with. But if he chases you down, opens the cab door and slaps you in there, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's bonkers. I feel like,
that really stressed me out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, what year was that, Abby, while you're looking that up? I'm very curious.
Because
I keep saying when I was
8.
Okay, so I was like 16. Maybe I shouldn't have been.
When's your birthday, John?
January 31st.
Okay, so
dox me, bitches. Steal my identity.
Same year. We're all the same year, but Abby and I are later in the year.
Sick,
so we're right there with you on the pop culture references.
Yeah.
What's the last concert you went to?
Ooh, good question. Actually, it was the last concert I went to was 2 in one weekend, back to back.
Whoa,
but so the last one would be officially Weezer into the Voyage to the Blue Planet. That kind of like a very fun live show that they're doing. Good. Yeah. They play the full Blue album, but it's kind of like concept-y that they have to like rescue the world or so. It's so Rivers coded that you're like, what?
Building of the spaceship, repairing it thing. So cool.
It was so fun, and the Lips opened up for them, and I've been a fan of those guys forever. So that was fucking awesome. But that weekend, I saw, even though Weezer played L.A. on Friday and then played the desert on Saturday and Sunday, and I went out and saw him in the desert because I saw Hans Zimmer in L.A. and that. And Weezer is probably the band I've seen the most in my entire life. They were one of my first concerts. My first album I ever bought myself, like sought out and got, was Pinkerton. Oh wow! Like Blue Album, I had like stumbled upon other albums, but Pinkerton was the one I was like, I need to get this band's next album. I call myself a fan of them now. But the fucking Hans Zimmer show was fucking awesome. He's up there with like a 40-something piece band. And he does this really fucking cool thing. Now, I'm a big fan of movie scores. I think Zimmer's one of the best. I like Tangerine Dream. I like ambient sound. Like, I'm a big fan of like that synth world and stuff. My favorite Zimmer score is Interstellar. My wife's is Gladiator. And so he played both of those, which was awesome. But this cool thing he did was he had this huge band with all these, and different songs had different focuses. Like for this score, it was all about this like electric cellist. for this score, it was all about the electric guitar guys solos. For the Dune score, it's all about this Middle Eastern woman who's like, who does all that shit. And so, but in between each song or each couple of songs, he would stop and then just absolutely gas up somebody in the band. Like somebody that you're like, this woman is an absolutely tremendous artist. She's played cello for these people. Give her name, gas her up. We've been working together forever. Okay, now, and then all of a sudden it's like watching Hard Knocks and then watching football, where all of a sudden I'm invested so much more in every person.
Yeah.
There was a moment where he goes, this is my guitarist. He's been with me for 20 years. He did a solo in that last song that he's changed every single night on this 100 like show tour or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. He's like, so if you notice, and then he explained it, and I was like, oh my God, I did notice. Hans just sits down in a chair during this guy's solo and watches the guitar. And then he's like talking about this guitarist who's like maybe the only traditional looking musician up there. He's like a white guy with like long, like wavy hair. And he's like, and he's got a degree in literature from Oxford, and like he's all gassing him up. But everyone else was a beautiful woman. So I like the cellist was this smoke show, like jacked Asian woman. The two percussionists were two beautiful women. Like everybody, the band was so female heavy. It was so fucking cool. And he would just be like, and this woman is an expert. She does this, this, and this. And I was so fucking enraptured. If I know he's like kind of almost always touring. Or seems to be doing a lot of shit. So if you get the opportunity, I highly recommend to you guys or people listening. It's a fucking wild
man, it sounds
show.
Epic.
It was awesome.
Did you? This is a music geek question. Do you get the chills? Because I just feel like in that moment when you're like unexpectedly surprised with how grand and cool the show is, I get like chills from that shit.
100%. I got big time chills during the Dune song because it just lights up on a woman dressed like a Bene Gesserit, like in the audience, like a spotlight hits her and she's like, "Aye!" like does that high pitch kind of like cue, and you're just like, what? And then another spotlight hits a different part of the audience and a woman dressed like the Bene Gesserit, like sex nun ladies screams that, and you're like, holy shit. And then they get into it on stage and they reveal the woman who's making that. Like twice, I forget what the other performance was, but during this concert, twice, noises that I thought were coming from like a synth or a theremin even were coming from a woman's like diaphragm. It's fucking wild, where I'm like, that's organic coming from someone's body. Like it felt like synthesized in some way. And I'm like, shit, this woman is insanely talented. Yeah,
man, that's so
full-blown
cool.
chills. Yeah.
Well, we're coming to LA in September. We got to look out for Hans Zimmer.
One of my big time chills moment was seeing Beck at Radio City Music Hall in support of the Midnight Vultures tour, an album I fucking loved. And it was on Valentine's Day. I had a girlfriend leading up to this. I was in high school and I had this girlfriend, and she got me tickets for me and my friend who's a huge Beck fan, my best friend, and my concert, besides my wife, the guy who I've been the most concerts with. She got us these tickets and it was on Valentine's Day. And then we ended up breaking up in January. And I'm like, can I, should I return these tickets to you? She's like, no, you can have them. And she goes, just one question. Are you gay? And I was like, this is like 1999 or 2000. I'm like a high school senior and I'm like, or junior. And I'm like, no. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, why'd she ask me that? And I'm like, oh, I'm breaking up with my girlfriend to go to Valentine's Day Beck concert with my best friend. And I just didn't put together that I might be. And then during that concert, which was a great show, but the moment I remember is he had that kind of sexy song, Deborah. And when he starts singing it, a 4-post bed drops from the ceiling, and then he kind of like rolls around on it with like silk throw pillows and does like a real over. And I was just like, when the bed starts dropping, I had such chills, and I turned to my buddy. I'm like, this is probably the moment I should be here with my girlfriend. Like, not you, dude. But it was a fucking awesome time.
Looking back, you're so progressive. You're like, this chick is like, calling shot, and you're like, no, I'm just going with my butt.
I dealt with that my whole life because of my name, and I grew up on Long Island in the 80s and 90s, where
so unclever.
Yeah, I was pretty much considered gay because I liked movies a lot.
Yeah,
like my parents were like, he really likes cinema. Like said it with like, I'm like, what?
Oh man, That's great. So you are a music geek. I mean, it's showing right now. As a music podcast, it's like,
A little bit. I'm a little out of touch with music, but I've always been a fan of live music, and I also, and I'm sure everyone who's a fan of live music can talk about this because it's like my favorite era of SNL was when I was watching it, but like
yeah,
I lived in New York City. I lived in the tri-state area in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then moved to New York City in the early aughts. And that for me was like the peak of like that new indie rock moment. And I saw so many shows. Like here are people I saw more than once: Strokes, White Stripes, Arcade Fire, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Franz Ferdinand, Go Go Bordello, like all these kind of like of Montreal, Wolf Parade, Block Party. Block Party. There's a venue in Harlem called like the United Church that they would play in this big ass church. And when we saw Block Party there, they were rocking so hard that paint chips were like snowing down off the ceiling. It was just like, hopefully not asbestos, but it ended up making this like crazy ass thing where it felt like it was snowing indoors. It was wild. Everyone was jumping so much that this old structure just started, and it was fucking, oh man.
and now everyone has mesothelioma.
Yeah, now I'm part of a class action lawsuit based on an infomercial. Yeah, so I feel like that era was like such insane indie rock scene, and like I was going to like Hammerstein, Webster Hall, Bowery Ballroom, like twice a month each to see some band for like $20 that would eventually go on to like
be huge,
now when I see the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, it's like an $80 ticket at fucking the Hollywood Bowl, and I was seeing them for like
even
$10.
80 isn't bad.
No, yeah, no, I bet you
Jeez.
that's 80 sans fees and shit.
Yeah. Oh man. So I was right after I moved to New York in like 2005. And so I caught that Brooklyn like folky hipster wave, and that was like everything, too. So
what were some exemplar bands?
I mean, it's like Devendra Banhart and shit like that, and Bowerbirds. I'm trying to think of Bon Iver had just like I saw Bon Iver open, or no, I saw The Tallest Man on Earth open for Bon Iver, and then like a year later, Bon Iver was playing this Haiti. Remember the Haiti earthquake?
Yeah.
I went to a benefit show. I wasn't going to go, and I went to a benefit show, and it was like Bon Iver, Spoon, St. Vincent, Zach Galifianakis hosted. It was like fucking bananas.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool. What was your first concert?
My first concert was Soul Asylum at the Jones Beach Amphitheater. And this would be in like 1994. I was like a kid because we went with my friend's dad. And it was like Matthew Sweet opened for them. I only knew the one song, Runaway Train. And I was stoked to just be going to a concert because my friend asked me. But my first few concerts were that, because I remember because my buddy and his dad, we would have to go with his dad. We were that young. And the other two big ones that I went to when I was that young were at the Garden. I saw No Doubt, Goo Goo Dolls, and Bush. I think that's the tour where Gavin and Gwen got together.
Oh yeah.
And then I also went to Lollapalooza. And I just going to look up it was the year that Metallica played. And I just curious, 1996, Metallica, Soundgarden, and Wu-Tang Clan. I saw Lollapalooza at Randall's Island with my friend. And in hindsight, I owe so much to this kid's dad who sat through a full day of music. He was like an Ecuadorian immigrant. He didn't know shit about, like, he was just so pumped to be there to see how excited we were. And that was the first time someone tried to steal my wallet from my pocket, something I only heard about from like my dad warning me.
Yeah.
Like a guy did the bump at the Randall's Island, like bumped into me. But I had like these shorts at the time that were really cool in the mid 90s were like, like Quicksilver, like pattern shorts where the back pocket buttoned closed.
Yeah.
And that's where I kept my corduroy rusty wallet on a chain. And so he went to grab it out and like bumped into me. And I was like, excuse me. And then I felt him grab my wallet. And I'm like, wallet chain and button pocket. You're fucked, pal. Like I felt like I was like, now I know why us skaters wear wallet chains. But 1996, so I would have been 14 years old. And another distinct memory I have is racist Metallica fans booing Wu-Tang. But I was the age that I liked hip hop and rock and roll so much. So seeing Ben Folds was on the side stage. Screaming Trees and Psychotica were also on the main stage. Now I'm remembering more. The Shaolin, this is so clearly from Wu-Tang. There was like a Shaolin monk martial arts demonstration on the main stage at Randall's Island. So I'm like, that was so fucking cool. Yeah.
Oh man, that's cool. Fuck yeah. And this is perfect segue to the next question. How do you feel about Dave Matthews Band?
Okay. How do I feel about Dave Matthews Band?
knew
Don't
it.
give a fucking rat's ass. He never worked on me.
Never
How do I
worked.
feel about Dave Matthews as a person? Guy's got the fucking right POV on life. Like, with the exception of, I guess, unloading piss, shit, and jizz into the Chicago River, which again is not his fault. But the guy has got, he's been on the right side of history many times. And his music doesn't really work for me, but I do not hate it. But bands that I grew up around, that my friends liked, that I never got, that I always disliked, were Dave Matthews, Pearl Jam, and U2. Those are three where I can't deny that they're good, where I'm like, yeah, obviously they're good. People who like, they're capable musicians who put on a good show, but just those three bands never did anything.
So you're like indifferent about them.
Yeah. How do you, where do you stand on DMB?
Well,
because the war is coming, so just
Yes.
decide now. Are you a Tim Reynolds guy?
I mean, I was prime college Dave Matthews. Like when Dave
Right.
Matthews hit, it was just my generation, our generation.
Right, yeah.
And
I mean, every one of my friends like them.
yeah.
In high school and junior high and high school, I was part of a friend group that we were called the Mikes and the Johns, because most of us were named Mike and John. And those guys were really into punk and ska.
Mhm.
And so I kind of protested against that just to be like a contrarian. And I got really into big beat. I was really into Chemical Brothers, Fatboy Slim, Prodigy, Orbital, DJ Shadow. I got really into that
Thievery
world.
Corporation.
At like 15, I was really into those bands. Like, and it was like a pushback against them. But then I see that as part of my my algorithm, my like taste algorithm. Now that I'm such a synth fan and like a fan of like Vaporwave and Midnight Run and Time Cop and all those kind of score like music, 80s kind of. I see where that all came from there. Aphex Twin was another band I was really into back then.
All about them.
Yeah. They had that album with like the monster screaming at the person.
Yep, that's
Old
like
Man, right?
Yeah,
I
that's like the
see
main
it.
thing I remember more than their music. Right,
Of
now,
course,
is that
I'm right there
visual,
with
yeah.
you. Right there with you.
Because this is the age where you would like put on the CD and then just like look at the CD. Like, you know, you'd like put Beastie Boys License to Ill in and then just look at the liner notes, look at the
book.
album. Yeah. Try to memorize the lyrics. Like I almost got maybe this was ill communication. I almost got Sure Shot memorized when I was a kid. I remember I thought that was so cool.
That's a good one.
Man,
Because at the board is the man they call Mario. Yeah, I got so many of those lyrics stuck in my head still.
remember when like a CD would come without lyrics and it'd be like such a fucking bummer.
So disappointing.
I know. We didn't have Rap Genius then. We didn't
Yeah.
even have fucking dial-up yet, you know? So
Yeah.
it was like, that was a real bummer because it would solve so many fights.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Where
absolutely.
you'd be like, it is half Japanese girls, okay? Like, you know, like you would, because everyone would be like, no, it's not, it's this. And you'd have to, like, if without the lyric book, you would be unable to explain, like, to settle bets, settle arguments. Like, now kids don't even realize. Kids just take out their phone and go, Chat GPT, how is my friend wrong? You know, but back in the day, it would be like a 6-year-long fight where it'd be like, he's not in that movie. And it's like, well, we have to go rent it and figure out if, like, that's a way to find out if a guy, and people used to lie way more back when we were kids. You would just get away with it. You'd be like, yeah, no, I saw that movie and it's about this. And you'd be like, is it really? And then you'd watch and you're like, and he was like, yeah, I was lying. Like, I just wanted to be cool. Yeah.
Confessing to your teenage friends, you're like, I was totally full of shit there
I'm
for
a
a second.
fucking liar. Yeah, you are correct. I'm a big time liar. Yeah.
I like what you said about connecting the dots and not like shitting on a band, like shitting on certain music, but you're like, I could see how I got from here to here. That's pretty insightful. I dig that. Okay. You're at an omelet station. They have everything. What are you getting in your omelet?
Oh, fuck. Good question. some sort of pork, whether it's bacon, ham, or sausage. Just one of the three, though. Frequently bacon if it's all chopped up. I'm doing bacon, onion, pepper, spinach, cheese. And
What
if
kind
they're
of cheese?
like cheddar or Monterey Jack, I go both, baby. Yeah.
1 pork, 2 cheeses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 girls, 1 cup, 1 pork, 2 cheeses. That's my go-to omelet order.
I wrote that down. Diligent note taking. Okay. If you could rename South Carolina, what would you call it? And the reason I'm asking this is because, come on, why do we have North Dakota, South? Just fucking name something new.
Yeah. I say jam them together, go down to 48 states, and we got Carolina and Dakota.
I love
And
it.
fucking the Dakotas have 4 senators to California's 2. North Dakota and South Dakota have the same amount of senators as New York and California.
Oh,
Seems wrong. Sorry, seems so wrong.
I would like to petition that if we're already going to combine the Carolinas and just kind of change the name, that we move fully to Kakalaki.
Like Kakalaki. Yeah.
Yeah, like we don't need the North and South. That's just Kakalaki.
Okay, I like that. I don't know any of what those words are, but I'm on board. I co-sign that, Abby. What's Kakalaki?
It's Petey Pablo.
When he
No.
talks
okay.
about like
North Carolina.
Okay, take your shirt off,
Yeah.
spin it around
Yeah.
your head like a
Yeah.
helicopter. Yes, okay,
Yep.
got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Very familiar.
I don't have this is just the note. It just says Long Island.
Okay, so that's
No
your
question.
Okay, that's
Just-
your next question. Okay,
Just statement. Go for it.
Long Island, interesting. Wonderful place to grow up. I think. We don't have mountains. It is weirdly it is like unbeknownst to people a diverse island, but it's one of those more than a mixing pot or melting pot, as they say. It's more of like a tossed salad where it's like Asian people live here, Jewish people live here, Black people live here. We all live close to each other, but it is like these neighborhood pockets. And of course, that's changed over the years. But there are communities of all ilks on Long Island, and the wealth is wildly disparate. There's mega wealthy people, and if you go out further enough out east, there's like legit rednecks, like farmers and shit, people with horses, like on Long Island. No one thinks about that because you have to get through like horse country to get to the Hamptons, which is like a whole nother. And as a lifelong beach guy, I can't help but love Long Island, and it instilled that in me.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm padded up, bro. And again, just because we're on bothering the band, it also has like its own kind of music scene that I was never really part of. I was like tangentially kind of friends with some of the guys from the movie life, from like a connection to a connection. But it's and weirdly enough, the guy who just did my most recent tattoo is now in a band with one of the guys from movie life.
Oh wow.
I think they're called Night Sports. Shout out Night Sports if you see them playing in New York. They're like a group of friends who are like ex-musicians from different bands who are like, we should start playing together. And then all of a sudden, because they have this one guy from the movie life who's kind of a big deal, all of a sudden record labels are like, do you want to make an album? And they're like, really? Okay. Yeah, I'm like,
fuck yeah.
Shout out Henbo, my tattoo artist. Long Island's a place you have to leave, though.
It's like
It's
Florida.
easy-
It's very similar to Florida. I grew up in Florida. I lived in New York. It has, like you said, that disparity of wealth, but it's like you said, a tossed salad is a good example.
Yeah, where you're like, my neighborhood might not be that. The diversity in my neighborhood is like Italian, Irish, and Jewish. But then there's like pockets where this is like considered a Black town, or this is a Latino town. This is where all the Great Neck North is where all the Asian people live. Or Great Neck South. One of the Great Necks in the 90s, so don't come for me. One of the Great Necks was Asian, when the other Great Neck was Jewish. Like that's like and when you played the football teams, you would know because it's like the names on the jerseys were just like NG, or and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. We don't see a lot of those over in my mostly Italian and Jewish neighborhood. But you have to leave it. And funny you say that about Florida, where it's like it's easy to it's got inertia. You can easily stay there because it's beautiful. Your friends, your family, and all that shit are all there. But you have to get out of it, because I was so happy to leave it. but leaving it also gave me like a new profound love for it.
Yeah.
And of course, this was like pre-internet, so like I was finding myself in the late 90s, and I didn't have like, so getting out of Long Island is integral for me. Like obviously I went away to college because I was privileged enough to go away to school, but moving into the city and being broke in the city, and I was like, I'm only like 50 minutes from my mom's house, and this is a fully different world. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, and then I'm realizing I'm like, my mom's like doesn't go to the city that much and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? This place rips. Like, how do you know, and it's like the first time my parents go to Brooklyn is to like see my apartment and shit like that.
They're like, oh, this is where you're staying? All right. This is before like Brooklyn got cool.
Yeah, I lived at South 4th in Williamsburg in 2004, and it was like, that was a scary place to live. It was just not fully it was cool when you got off the L at Bedford.
Yeah.
But when you walked the 11 blocks down, it just got less and less cool and more a little like empty buildings,
empty warehouses and shit. Yeah.
And I lived in a loft called the Rocket Factory that I guess used to make weapons. I'm assuming.
Of course it did.
Got funny side story about that apartment. Me and my roommates were like unemployed bozos who were like waiters,
of course,
temps, actors, all that bullshit. And one day, like 4 units on our floor got robbed except for ours. And then everyone thought it was us. But then it was revealed, they found the person who did it. And then it was revealed the reason we weren't robbed is because we were home, and we're always home. Like, it was like, woo, unemployment saved my ass.
Working nights really help.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. Oh, Billy Joel. We talked about Long Island. Are you indifferent about Billy Joel? Do you have to listen to Billy Joel?
I am not indifferent about Billy Joel. I have just off camera my Billy Joel Downeaster Alexa branded hat. Love Billy Joel. And yes, there is like, it is a little bit of indoctrination of growing up there but Billy Joel, if you say you don't like him but can't admit that he fucking can write a catchy tune, then you're wrong. You're like wrong. I totally get not liking him. Taste is subjective. But if you can't like say like, but holy shit, Piano Man is fucking hard not to get drunk and sing along to.
Yeah.
One of my favorite experiences in life was going to see Billy Joel during his MSG residency. After I had moved to LA, I came back. And my whole family went. All of us and our plus ones, all of us and our partners, and my mom took the Long Island Railroad in. And if you have the opportunity to take, honestly, if you ever get to see,
I bet you going back was fucking...
That's exactly where I'm going with. If you ever get to see Billy Joel at MSG or in New York City, I recommend just getting a hotel on Long Island so you can ride the Long Island Railroad. Madison Square Garden is on top of Penn Station. So when the concert's over, 1 million drunk Long Islanders all go right downstairs and get on the train. And if you don't think people are singing Billy Joel the whole fucking way home, me and my brothers were drinking double tequila and sodas, which were like $29 each. And we were just fucking hammered on the train ride home, like, I've always loved Billy Joel. Downeaster Alexa is my favorite Billy Joel song.
Fuck yeah.
As a matter of fact, funny story about that song. My dad passed away like 15 years ago, and when he was in hospice, we went to go see him. Me and my brothers, we drove together, and it was kind of like, oh, this is winding down. This is not great. And on the drive home on Sirius XM, they just played Downeaster Alexa, and we were all kind of quiet in the car, and I was just like looking out the window, and like I started crying, and I had tears in my eyes, and I turned to my brother. I'm like, it's fucking crazy that this song is on. He's like, you're crying? And I was like, oh, sorry. And they were just not emotionally tapped in like I was, and I was like, I misread the entire I thought I was going to turn around, all of us were going to be like, it's going to be okay, or like, Dad's going to be okay. And instead they were like, are you crying? And I was like, yeah, just I mean, a little bit, come on. Like, it's a good song.
And they're like, it's because you watch movies as a kid.
Yeah. Oh man, you got you got open-minded and empathy from trying to put yourself in other people's shoes through art.
Oh man, this is fun. Okay, are you a car guy?
I drive them. I enjoy looking at them, but I don't know anything about them, or I don't care. Like, I don't care. I drive a Subaru Outback Wilderness Edition, and it's my favorite car I've ever had.
I am right there with you.
I will never go back. I will only
What
drive.
color is yours?
Oh man, it's olive green with the black stripe down the middle. It feels
I
like a
wanted the
fucking
olive green one.
GI Joe car. It's
I got the
awesome.
gunmetal one.
Ooh, that one rips
with like
too.
the gold on the racks on the top.
Yeah,
too.
the
It's
gold
cool.
accent. Is it a Wilderness Edition? The one you
It
drive,
is. It
for
is.
real?
Yeah.
Dude, the car is so fucking cool. It makes me feel like I'm a GI Joe when I drive it. I
Yeah. It
absolutely
drives
love
like a truck too. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
It rides a little higher than the Outback. Before this, I had two Golf station wagons from Volkswagen, and I like those cars a lot because of the super long sunroofs. But this car I'm obsessed with. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Oh man, this episode brought to you by Subaru.
Oh please, I would kill to have Subaru sponsor me. I'll drive.
Yeah.
Subaru, if for some reason you're listening, I'll do a comedy tour where I drive and sleep in my Subaru if you underwrite the whole thing. And I'll make content about how awesome my Subaru is. Because I'm fucking 6'2", 300 pounds, and I can, if you put the back seat down, I can lay down fully in my car. It's awesome. I'm talking like a guy who's done it before.
And if Subaru does that, I would love to just be like a PA.
Yeah,
help out. I don't want to
dude.
be on camera or anything like that.
Too bad.
I have another brand question. So Pally is now getting Jimmy John's bucks.
Oh, good for him.
If you could pick like a brand that you would want to represent, what would you pick?
Ooh, good question. Now, I'm bringing in too much information into this, but I'm torn between a brand I think I'd be right for, a brand I really like and am passionate about, or a brand I'd really like to have a good relationship with. Ooh. So, for example, for that latter one, I would want Delta. I'm a diamond medallion guy. I travel a lot,
Practical.
and I would love to be the face of Delta or something, so that I could get free flights and all that, and so that's one appeal. Something I would be right for would be like some sort of cannabis company or like a crispy
cookies.
I was rocking the cookies. A crispy lager of some sort, or a pilsner, some kind of light, crispy, drinkable beer. And then one that I am super passionate about that I would just want to push on everyone would be like a sauna. Like, I'm so obsessed with saunaing that maybe I could like get people hyped for it.
Oh man,
that's a really good question. Cause I mean, obviously I'm overthinking it as someone who's in the industry, but yeah, that I like that question a lot. And I'm jealous of Adam's Jimmy John's. I'm not a Jimmy John's fan. There's not been one in close proximity to me ever in my life, but I am a touring comedian, so I've eaten it in a number of different cities and always been like, this sandwich fucking rocks. So I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but he got a card that's like free sandwiches for life, and that's fucking cool. I mean, I'm assuming he's making a few bucks in the campaign as well
for life though. That's like a Bargatze with DoorDash. They were like, here's also lifetime free shit.
So
good.
Awesome.
Good. I'd have to go if I'm going food. It's Taco Bell.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, I think I would be a good spokesperson. I don't think they like to cast fat people as advertisers for fast food to like remind you of diverse, the repercussions. Yeah,
slim
families, and it's always families. It's like, oh yeah, we always sit down as a family and have Taco Bell. I'm like, I've only eaten Taco Bell shirtless in the dark alone. the best way to eat anything.
Well, that's the pull quote. Only. Okay, we talked about movies. What's one major, huge movie, and Abby, you can jump in here too, that you've never seen?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, what is a movie? That's a hard, because I constantly seek out the thing I haven't seen that people.
But
talk about.
There's always one that pops up. You're like, I fucking never, like, I just missed it.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Well, now I'm going through Harry Potter with my daughter, and I never saw any of those.
I don't think those.
Does that count?
No, you need you need something a little more in the classic territory than that, like I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are we going like deep classic, like 50s, or like?
Well, just like something that it's like what, like something that makes someone go, "You've never seen blank." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not in like the culty way of like you've never seen. I mean, I guess if you hadn't seen Dumb and Dumber, that would be a good thing to call out. But I'm trying to think. What's
hard? It's a hard one. Now I'm thinking too. American Psycho. I've never seen.
Oh, okay.
That's like a culty indie flick, but
I've seen it a few times. I like that movie a lot. I read the book. I never saw the Mila Kunis sequel, but I don't think that counts as what you're talking about. I've never seen Heaven's Gate.
Oh, okay.
And I know that's not like really a big, but that's like kind of famously a debacle movie. And I recently saw a trailer for it before something else at a rep screening, and I was like, I should fucking strap in and go see this movie at some point. I'm sure, but that doesn't. I don't know if that really counts. That makes me sound like a cinephile more than anything.
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
There's
Same with American Psycho too.
Yeah,
it's like
there's got to be some big movie that everyone loves that I'm like, fuck, I still have not seen that, and I don't know.
I bet you there. So I ate one too many weed brownies before seeing Hot Tub Time Machine, and freaked out and bailed.
Wow,
never saw it.
Oh, okay.
Never revisited.
Well, that might be hard for you to want to do, you know.
I'm gonna try to recreate it.
I did revisit it recently. Not gonna lie, I was really stoned, and it was hilarious.
I bet. So. Well, like I also haven't seen the new Indiana Jones.
They're not
or
good.
like like
if you hadn't seen any of the old ones, I think that would count in that category. I haven't seen Spielberg's 1942, but people don't think that's that great.
I've never seen Fight Club.
Oh, okay. That's a good answer to this question, Abby. That's right. Yeah. And it's not like Fight Club was interesting for me. I talk about Fight Club as like a tabula rasa for film bros. Like it was like a way for me, a guy who only liked like mouth breathing action movies. It was a way for me to like to get like a touch deeper, and I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. A lot going on in this film. Interesting. I should seek out the book and read it, and I did. And I was like, and that movie kind of unlocked like, oh, movies can be more than just something. And in hindsight, I've now seen like 1 million movies better than Fight Club. But at the time, at the age I was like, it activated my cinephilia.
Young male in that timeline, you had to watch it. Like it's just like your friends would be like, you have to watch this and shit.
And if my friends knew how much I liked looking at Brad Pitt on screen, they would be almost right in calling me a little gay at that point. And then I wanted to be Tyler Durden. Yeah, she's like, I heard you were cranking it in the Belmore Playhouse watching Fight Club. Whoops. Man, I will end up replying to the email in like a year and being like, I realized the movie I never seen, you know.
Well, how about this? Think about two things. You're in LA, right?
Yes.
I don't know what you're doing in September. We're doing a live show in LA. If you want to come on, we're doing a live show at the Bob Baker Marionette Theater. Do you know this place? Oh,
cool. I've never been, but I do know of it because my friends have kids, so I constantly see photos from it where they're going to the marionette show and shit. It's cool.
Well, this will be for adults.
Live humans. They'll be. You guys will not be humans. Puppeted. Yeah,
we're going to incorporate puppets somehow.
They threw it out there. They said, if you want some puppets, we will puppet.
And I was like,
who says no to that?
Okay, so I will be at this show at least, if not doing a small presentation about how I finally saw Gone with the Wind or whatever, which I have seen. I need something bigger than that. Yeah.
Good pull. Okay, movies. If I say, this is just for me, if I say diplomatic immunity, what is your first thought?
Diplomatic immunity. That's the only way I know how to say that phrase. Like if I hear it in anything else, I say it like that. That makes me think of another scene from the same movie. Of course, we're talking about Lethal Weapon 2 here.
Yep.
2.
Two.
Yeah, and that features one of my favorite scenes where Danny Glover goes to the consulate to try to go to South Africa, and the guy will not, because it's during apartheid South. Kind of crazy for a mainstream action movie to take a stance against apartheid. I mean, not crazy to take a stance against apartheid like that. Yes. That is the correct stance. And to tie this conversation all together, Dave Matthews, a white South African, who's very anti-apartheid. That moment when he's trying to go back and he's with Joe Pesci, and the guy, he's like, but why can't I go? Why can't he go, huh? And he goes, the guy just eventually goes, because you're blick. You're blick. And he's like, and then they both keep going back to him. Blick? He's blick? What do you mean blick? And Joe Pesci's like, blick? What does he mean? Leo gets blick, black. Yeah. I fucking love that. I love that movie.
Man, I'm so happy. I knew it. I had a hunch. I was like, if I throw this out there.
Diplomatic immunity. Eeny, meeny, miny, hey Mo.
No, yeah, man. Lethal Weapon 2 quotes for days. I love it.
Love it. Huge fan of Mel Gibson. I don't know anything about his personal life, so I'm going to be okay forever.
Loves Jews.
Yeah. Big fan of other people. Yeah.
Okay. Last real dumb question before we wrap it up is, how far can you throw a football?
I bet you I would fucking rock my shoulder girdle if I tried now. But back in the day, I could throw 30, 40 yards, like with a little bit. Because growing up, when you played like tackle or touch football, you threw like rather than a kickoff, you threw it off.
Yeah.
So you got used to like whipping, like, and I would be the guy that'd be like, all right, Gabrus, like you're not fast, but you can throw the ball downfield. Yeah.
And now you would tear your rotator cuff. Like,
oh, dude, I'd tear my rotator cuff bending over to pick up the football.
I bet I could throw a football over them mountains.
Uncle Rico. See them mountains over there? I bet I could throw a football over them.
Man, this has been so much fun. Okay, something we ask everyone at the end is, if you could interview any musician, live or dead, in the style of Bothering the Band, so very stupid, asinine questions, who would you interview and what would you ask them?
Fuck, that's a great question. I mean, I kind of want to sit across from Billy Joel and just ask him like Long Island specific questions. There's a part of me that wants to sit with Weezer and kind of call them out. I guess I would just asking. I keep going like asking dumb questions like on this podcast, like you do for a living. Like it feels so weird to say that. Who would I want to be idiots. A dummy idiot for? Just like you guys are. I mean, honestly though, like the person I'd like to sit down and talk to the most right now in the music industry is, and it's not because of his music, although I do enjoy it, it's probably Action Bronson.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really like his perspective on a lot of stuff. And we both have a lot in common as like New Yorkers who smoke weed and love food and are Knicks fans and like all that stuff. So I think he would be a very, so here are my three: Billy Joel, Weezer, or Action Bronson.
That's a good diverse group.
Yeah, two famous New Yorkers. There you go.
Yeah.
Action Bronson shouting out the Orlando Magic.
Oh,
excuse us.
That's the opening line of one of his songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't even know this one.
What? I will send it to you.
Man, I feel like I know everything about the Orlando
he says
Magic.
Something about Orlando Magic, like black warm-ups, something Shack.
That's
okay.
Awesome. He's so fucking interesting, and I'm more of a fan of Fuck That's Delicious than I am of his hip hop. But like, I like him so much that listening to his music is still appealing. And then like he'll have some bars that get me. He's like, I pull out my nunchucks so my weapons can have a sleepover and shit like that. Like I just like love stuff like it's all really weird and dumb, and I'm here for it.
I saw him in a bar with Mario Batali. Ooh. In Williamsburg, actually.
Wait, Action Bronson and Mario Batali?
Yeah, right before
I would love to be a fly on the wall for that.
Yeah, Batali, hot water, right? Yeah,
this
he's
is
a little
right
gropey
around that time too, where he got
groping people with his Crocs on and shit.
He was real sweaty. That's what I remember. Sweaty at the Levee. I don't know if you know the Levee in Williamsburg.
Do I know the Levee in Williamsburg?
Yeah.
When I lived at South 4th in Bedford, that bar was open in 2004, and it was like $2 people, or it was maybe like a $5 shot and beer deal or something crazy like that. And I would just drink like a fucking rack whiskey, and that was like the Brooklyn hipster drink of choice was like a can of PBR and a shot of something,
a shot of shitty whiskey.
Yeah, for $4 or $5 depending.
And then you walk down to the Turkey's Nest and get a to-go beer to walk through the park and go home.
Dude, my cousins live in Greenpoint, and they're my youngest cousins. I'm like 15 years older than them. But I was just in New York for like a month for work and stuff, and I crashed with him, and I was like, you guys they live like right on the north side of McCarran Park. I'm like, have you guys ever been to the Turkey? I said, is the Turkey's Nest still open? And they were like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
what?
It's this bar that we used to go to get styrofoam beers,
big old styrofoam,
and like to go watch kickball or play kickball or just take to walk around with you. Giant fucking styrofoam. And they were like, I've never even heard of that. And I'm like, you guys have been living in Greenpoint
on the other side of the park.
Exactly. I'm walking to the L train one day and I walk past it and I'm like, guys, it is still open.
It's right there.
I couldn't believe that they'd never been to the Turkey's Nest. And then like later that night, we're splitting like a bucket of Miller Lights at the Turkey's Nest. It was
Yeah.
fucking awesome. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so much fun.
Oh, the other, there was a bar on South 6th and Bedford, Berry, Wythe, Kent, somewhere in there, called Bembe. And it was like a Brazilian dance club. Not my scene at all, but one of my roommates was a bartender there. So when you're just desperate to have like a cheap drink, but you have to go where there's like people playing like the djembe and shit. Like you got, and I'm like one of the few white, like heavy set people in there. And I'm like, excuse me. And just going up to the bar and I'm like, can I have like a, Miller High Life, and my buddy's like, I'll make you a caipirinha or whatever. And I'm like, so all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm like 6 drinks deep, like on the dance floor with like all these like South Americans playing like all these crazy instruments, and I'm like completely out of my element. But it was an empanada lady would come in, or a tamale lady, she would come in and sell tamales like right out of a car, like out of a bag, and buy 2, jam them down. It was like such a weird, and I ended up hanging out there enough that like I made friends with people that I was doing comedy and going to see rock shows, and then in some one night or 2 nights a month I would end up at like a Brazilian dance club till 4 in the morning.
You're doing capoeira and like...
yeah. Banana way, banana way, banana. We just rewatched Only the Strong on my podcast Action Boys. Doesn't really hold up, but still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I was obsessed with that movie when I was younger.
Oh, of course. I forgot about that movie. Man.
Hey, maestro.
Jon, this has been so much fun. Tell us what's next for you. Throw out some shit you want to promote and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm doing a new podcast with Adam Pally, as you mentioned, called Staying Alive. Wherever you get podcasts, check me out there. And then also, if you enjoyed my inability to answer questions about movies, you might we have like several hundred episodes of a movie podcast I host with 2 of my best friends called The Action Boys, and it's a Patreon podcast, so you got to pay for it. But we do have some free episodes at free.actionboys.biz. And if you're the type of person with disposable income, just go to actionboys.biz, sign up for the biggest tier, and then cut your credit card in half and just let it run. And check the box that says keep charging me even after I die, and just help support artists in your community. We do have so many episodes out that if you jumped on for like 6 months, you probably wouldn't even finish all the stuff we already have out. And we're putting out 4 to 7 episodes a month. So
wow, fuck,
yeah.
so prolific.
6 or 7, yeah. Weekly episodes, and then we have 2 bonus episodes every month, depending on your tier. But check us out at free.actionboys.biz just to hear how funny the show is. I'm very proud of that job.
Hell yeah. And then when are you ever going to do the chicken nugget power hour again?
No, I don't think so, because it changed my body chemistry.
Yeah.
Like it fucked me up for like way too long.
How many times did you do it?
Just once, but I succeeded. I ate over 60 nuggets, and that's so funny. I just had nuggets with the Doughboys the other night on a rest stop in Connecticut, and it didn't come up. But I didn't have 60. I had a 10 piece. Yeah, I'll never do that again. That really, I mean, I probably will if someone asked, but it
Let's
really
do it right now.
It really fucked me up. Like I felt insane. Like I was doing pretty good health wise, and that changed me for honestly 3 weeks. Like it was just like my body.
Don't doubt it.
Yeah, I just could not come out of it.
I feel like if I did an M&M power hour, it would fuck me up a little bit.
Oh yeah, your teeth would start hurting and shit.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I was saying my belly and it's all.
You're the one with the candy shell on your head.
Oh, we could just keep going and talking in movie references.
Yeah, I know. Just you're 42, 43. Perfect. Let's go.
Raised by you're a pop culture casualty, as I like to say. Like,
dude, addicted. Absolutely. I still am. I still can't stop watching everything.
100%.
It's like in the way of doing all the stuff I want to do in life. Is that I'm like, oh fuck, I have to watch all of Severance season 2. Gotta go. Sorry, I can't hang out. Like I have this completionist attitude, and also FOMO for programming, and that's why I'm having a hard time thinking of a movie I haven't seen, because the second a movie comes, someone's like, you've never seen blank. I'm like, I gotta go see it now.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've seen it.
You're like, I gotta talk to Abby and Ryan.
What's the other Truffaut film? I've seen Breathless. Is it 400 Blows or something? I like, if I had to reach, that would be the one I haven't seen. I forget what the name of it is. Let me just type 400 Blows and see if I'm making that. Yeah,
I'm a little
400 Blows from 1959, and it's Truffaut's first film. I don't know if that means it's good or important, but that is something that I haven't seen.
Me neither.
I've never seen that either.
Yeah, no, I'm sure many listeners haven't either seen the 1959 French New Wave black and white film debut of Truffaut.
Man, this has been so much fun, John.
This
Thank
was
you so
much
for your
fun for me.
time.
I can't believe we sat at a wedding together and didn't have these kinds of conversations. I mean, maybe we did. I am sure I was at least charming enough to not. You still had me on your podcast 20 years later, so you don't hate me.
There we go. The marriage didn't last, but we made this happen.
Our friendship lasted longer than their marriage. I mean, granted, it kind of started today, but our friendship endures over the wedding, the marriage.
Cool, man. This has been a blast. We'll definitely have you back on because I feel like we could just keep going for another couple hours.
And I'll see you guys in September when you come out here. That'd be fun.
Awesome.